Hey, Robert here with Bedbugs Florida Heater Rentals. I'd like to review how to set up and operate our 400 square foot bedbug heating system. Be sure to follow our online instructions on how to prepare the room before starting. This system is our most popular heating package. It's simple to use and it's perfect for heating 2 small bedrooms over the course of a day, or 1 regularly sized master bedroom over 1 day, or perhaps even a living room that's pretty small, or a standard hotel room, or even a 2-car garage. There are a lot of different applications that this system can be used for. It's technically rated to heat 400 square feet of empty space under ideal conditions, or about 350 square feet of furnished space. If you have less than ideal conditions, things like concrete block construction with not so good insulation, drafty windows, very high ceilings, lots of furniture, and so on, you'll definitely want to consider stepping up to the more powerful 800 square foot heating system. You can always have more heat, but the system can never be undersized. When you rent the 400 square foot heating system, you'll receive a bedbug heater fan, plus 3 additional air mover fans, so 4 fans in total, one of which is producing the heat. For powering the heating elements, you'll have 2 different options to choose from. The first option is using 4 110-volt heating cables that provide you with 100 square feet of heating power per cable. They plug into the side of the heater and then plug into the regular wall outlets around your house. We provide a mix of 50 and 25-foot lengths, so you'll have ample distance to get them plugged in where you need them to go. Your home should easily be able to support the power requirements for this system. The second option is plugging into your electric stove outlet using 1 larger 220-volt cable. This single cable provides you all of your heating power, and we can provide you with about 60 feet of length from the point of the heater to the point that it plugs in behind your stove, although longer runs are available in certain situations. Okay, so let's head out to the customer's house and let's get this demonstration started. Okay, so we are here in a single-family home, and there are 2 small kids' bedrooms that need to be heat treated for bed bugs. The 400 heat system is perfect for treating both of these rooms over 24 hours. Each room will be treated for about 10 to 12 hours each. In the little girl's room, it's about 135 square feet in size, including the closet. It has a bed that's right in the middle of the room and has a medium to large amount of furniture overall. We can heat both of these rooms in 1 day because we're using a heating system that's bigger than what's required to treat the rooms. The setup process is a simple 5 steps. Step 1. Place the fans in the room to make circular airflow. Step 2. Plug in your fans. Step 3. Plug in your heating power using 4 110-volt heat cables. Or, Step 4. Choose to plug in the heating power using the large stove heat cable instead. Step 5. Turn on the heater and start killing your bugs. The first step in the heating process is to always place your fans and heaters where you want them to go. Your goal is to create a constant circular airflow effect around the bed, like a vortex or a tornado, to create this constant looping motion. Since we have 4 total fans with this system, it'll be very easy to create your convection in this smaller room. Just decide what direction your airflow is going to flow and then place the fans around the bed to make it happen. The good news is that the furniture in this room, including the bed, if you'll see, is all raised off the floor at least 4 or 5 inches. And so there was a minimal amount of furniture that you would need to move away from the walls in this case. I'd say the furniture has been pulled forward maybe a few inches total, nothing more. This style furniture allows for airflow to easily travel underneath and behind it. If your furniture isn't this style, you'll need to pull it forward so that all the pieces are off the walls to more properly allow for air to get behind them. Note that you can always move things around during the heating process itself if space is limited. Here in the boys' room, which is right next door, it's 125 square feet, including the closet. The key difference here is that the bed is in the corner of the room, not in the middle like it was next door. Since this bed is the highest risk area for activity in this room, there's a slightly different way to set this up so that you effectively treat the back side of the bed and the wall area. The bed should be pulled away from the walls towards the center of the room and carefully have the mattress and box springs stood on their edges. Now, when placing the fans, you have the ability to get some of that same circular airflow that we're looking for. Once your fans are placed where you want them to go, you'll plug them in using these thin black cables that are wrapped around each of the fans. These cables power just the air blowers, not the heat elements, and so you can simply plug them in anywhere you want inside the room. Just find the closest outlets that are available. For heating power, there are two options available. For the 110 volt option, there are 4 cables that will plug into the side of the heater first. These heat cables draw 12 amps apiece, and so they must be plugged into 4 different outlets that are on 4 different circuit breakers around your house. So you route these 4 cables under the bedroom door, and in this case, one was plugged into the kitchen outlet, one to the washing machine, one to the living room, and the 4th cable went to the bathroom. Be sure not to plug them into the bedroom itself because your fans are plugged in there, and also never plug in the heating cables directly into the top of the air mover fans. Once plugged in, verify that you have an orange light glowing for each of the cables used. If any of these lights go off mid-treatment, you know you've most likely tripped a circuit breaker and will need to make an adjustment. Option 2 is to plug the cable directly into your stove's 220/240 outlet. That's that big outlet behind the stove. First plug in the large rounded ends into the heater, then route the cable towards your kitchen. If you need more distance, use the stove extension cord to get a run of about 60 feet. If you have the new style 4-prong outlet behind your stove, you'll need to use the adapter that we provide. Once plugged in, confirm that you have power to the heating elements via these 2 glowing orange lights. Again, if these lights ever go off mid-treatment, you know that you've likely tripped the circuit breaker for your stove. So now it's time to turn on the heating system, and to do that, you first push the green buttons or dials on top of each fan. On the heater, you simply push this green button, and then you push the 2 yellow buttons to engage the heating elements. You must see the temperature displaying on the heater. If the temperature is ever not displaying, that means you've lost power at some point and need to re-engage the heat elements by pushing those 2 yellow buttons again. Once you turn on the heat system, it's always a good idea to stick around for a few minutes to ensure that you've got it plugged in properly and that you don't trip any circuit breakers. You also want to take a few minutes to ensure that the air conditioning vent is closed and that you're not blowing cold air into the room that you're trying to make hot. It may seem silly, but it can be easily overlooked. Also, verify that you don't have any loose paperwork or anything else that could get sucked into one of the fans. When leaving the room for the final time, be sure to put a bath towel or something similar at the crack of the door. This will help keep the heat inside. After that, it's perfectly fine to leave home. It's always best to check on the system as often as reasonably possible. Typically, the best practice is every 3 to 5 hours or so. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. It's really important to be patient and let the system do its work. Since we're using a much bigger system than the room calls for, the temperature will increase much faster compared to using a 200 square foot system. Once you achieve 120 degrees on the heater, the killing begins. Nothing really matters until you reach this temperature. Once in the kill zone, start using the temperature gun to check all areas of the room. Your goal is to have every single inch of this space above 120 degrees when measured with the temperature gun. If you find an area that's a little sluggish in temperature, inside of a closet for example, always move a fan to drive heat into that area more directly. After the 120 to 140 degree kill zone is reached, you then want to let the system run for another 6 to 12 more hours to allow that heat to bake into all the nooks and crannies of the walls and furniture where the bed bugs could be hiding. If your temperatures get into the higher range, like in the high 130s or even 140, you can typically shut the system down after 6 to 10 more hours after baking at the full temperature. If your temperatures max out and hover in the low 120 degree range, That's the lower end of the spectrum. You'll want to run it for the full 12 hours of baking time. Note the heater will govern itself at 140 degrees so you don't overheat the room. Once you have been in the bedbug kill zone for a few hours, it's always best to enter the room and rotate your mattress and other items as needed to ensure that there's no cold spots. If you have a king-size bed that's extra heavy, a good trick would be to put a couple of nightstand drawers or some milk crates between the mattress and the box spring to help separate them. This is the point where the temperatures get as hot as it would feel, say, inside of a hot car on a hot summer day, or up in an attic or in a sauna. I mean, you want to be careful, but it's no hotter than a sauna. And so you have the ability to go inside, check things, make adjustments, and get out. When it's finally time to shut the system down, simply push the buttons on top of the fans. In our first small bedroom, kill temperature was achieved after only 3 hours. The temperature reached a maximum of 140 degrees on the heater, so it was allowed to run another 9 hours at full temperature. So the total runtime for this bedroom was 12 hours from start to finish using the 400 square foot system. The second bedroom was identical, meaning both rooms were completed over the course of 24 hours. For cooling down, you can leave the windows closed to extend the treatment time for a few more hours, or to expedite the cool down, you can open up the windows or just open up your AC vents and the heat will dissipate over the course of a few hours. So as you can see from this demonstration, using a 400 square foot heating system to treat 2 small bedrooms over the course of 1 day is a pretty simple task. Almost anyone is able to tackle a project like this. It is do-it-yourself friendly, especially if you follow our step-by-step instructions. You can always call or text us if you need any help while heating is taking place. If you feel like you want a helping hand or a little in-person guidance, we do offer a delivery service. With this delivery option, we'll bring the equipment out to the home, ensure that you have it operating before we leave, then come pick it up once it's all finished. The delivery is a little more expensive, but it's also much more convenient. If you pick up a heating system from us, it would easily fit into any vehicle you have. Either way, give us a call to discuss your options, and remember, heating is the only technique that bedbugs cannot develop an immunity to. So take your time, be thorough, and good luck.